Hello and welcome to the lecture series on railways, harbour, tunneling and airport for the subject code 18 CV 645, module 1, session 8, defects in rails. So in this session we are going to discuss about defect in rails, types of wears on a rail, measurement of a wear, methods to reduce the wear on a rail, other defects in the rail and their remedial measures, corrugation of a rail and its remedial measures. Lastly, the references. Moving on to the first one, defect in rail. So there will be a different types of defect we can find out. So due to the passage of a moving wheel load and the friction between the rail and a wheel causes the rail head to get worn out. So this is the type of or the defect of a rail which is going to be occur in a due course of its service. Next is due to the impact of moving wheel load, the effect of forces of acceleration or deceleration, that is starting or stopping of engine and braking of a wheel, then the abrasion due to the rail wheel interaction, the effect of the weather conditions such as change in temperature, snow or rain, also due to the presence of foreign material such as sand. Also the standard maintenance of truck such as allied factor is also going to be considerable for the wear and tear. So that is a type of defect in a rail. So that is in the vertical and lateral planes of the rail head. Next is the lateral wear. So lateral wear occurs more on the curves. So as I said, lateral wear occurs more on the curves because of the lateral thrust that is going to be exerted on the outer rail due to centrifugal forces. A lot of the metal on the rail head get worn out, causing the weight of the rail to decrease. So these are the common type of defects which is going to be there in the service period of its rail. So first one is going to be rail head is going to be worn out due to moving wheel load and friction. The wear and tear of a rail section because of external agencies or the causative factors like moving wheel load or acceleration or deceleration. Then with respect to the weather conditions, so maintenance conditions, so all these are going to be accountable for wear and tear, that is in the vertical plane. Lateral wear is due to the curves. So all these are going to be accountable in the form of defects in rails. So moving on to the next type, that is a wear, that is a type of defect in a rail. So these are going to be classified into three types depending upon the position where the wear and tear occurs on the rail surface. On the top of the rail head, if it is going to be having a wear, so that is called as a vertical wear. Suppose on the sides of a rail head is going to be weared out, that is called as a lateral wear. Suppose on the end or the edges of rails are going to be there wear and tear, that is going to be called battering of rail head. So three positions upon which we can expect the wear and tear of the rail. So next is the type of a wear on a rail. So as we said it, wear is going to be more predominant type of failure or the defect in the rail. So some of the special occasions we can expect it. So normally the wear is going to be occurring in the following cases. On sharp curves, as I explained, that is due to centrifugal forces. Once again, due to the steep gradient, the extra forces which is going to be applied by the engine, that is also going to be a causative forces for the wear of a rail. Next is on approaches of a railway station, where we can expect the possibility of starting or stopping, that is acceleration or decelerations are going to be taken place. So these are the special circumstances or the special occasions we can expect the wear of rail surface. Then how do you going to measure the wear? So the wear is going to be measured by the following method. First one is by weighing method, that is just by weighing the rail section. So, the decrease in the weight is going to be noted, that is going to be expressed in the wear, or by profiling the rail section with the help of lead strip or with the help of a needle, or by using special instrument which are designed to have a profile for the rail section, and it is going to record simultaneously on a graph paper to know the nature of the wear. So, these are going to be used for the measurement of wear of a rail section. So, how do you going to reduce the wear? So, if wear is going to be there, we are analyzed what are the causative factors. So, how do you going to reduce the wear? So, first is by better maintenance practices. So, that is by giving or ensuring a good packing of a ballast as well as a proper alignment, so that we can have a correct gauge. So, we are going to reduce the wear. By next method, we can reduce the wear, suppose that is the end battering, by reducing the number of joint by welding. So, if you are going to reduce the number of joint, so the end battering is going to be avoided. So, we can reduce the wear. Similarly, if we are going to be using heavier and higher UTS rail, so those are having more resistance or more wear resistance. So, that is also going to be one more remedial measure. So, apart from that one, suppose if you are going to be providing a bearing plate or otherwise proper edging, so especially it is going to be useful in wooden sleepers has been concerned. So, we can reduce the wear. So, apart from that one, lubricating the gauge faces, so to avoid the friction between the rail wheel and the top surface of a rail. So, by using a proper lubrication, so especially in case of curves, that is outer rails has been concerned. So, where we are going to be apply the lubricate to avoid or to reduce the wear. So, this is going to be helpful to avoid the sticking of foreign material or the sand particle on the rail section to avoid the wear. So, that is purpose of using the lubrication. Apart from that one, if you are going to be providing a check rail to avoid the extra force which is going to be developed, especially in case of sharp curve. So, that is going to be reducing wear of a rail section, that is if you provide check rails. Suppose if we are going to interchange the inner and outer rail, that is in the case of curves. So, that is also going to be reducing some amount of wear on the rail section. Similarly, if you are going to be having a good practice of carrying out a track renewal method, thereby also we can reduce the wear. So, these images are showing the different types of defect of a rail due to wear or tear. So, in the first image, just observe the nature. So, the first rail and second rail, we are having a gap. So, that is at the rail end. It is been bridged by the fish plate and the bolt. So, this is been exaggerated because of repeated wheel movement. So, this wheel is going to be having a better effect or battered end. So, that is going to be causing a wear and tear. So, on the adjacent sides of the rail section. Similarly, so there may be a burr, that is due to a friction between the rail section and the flanges may going to be a wear, and it is going to be having irregular geometry on the surface of the rail. Just see how the wear is going to be inside and outer side of the rail, it is going to be taken. So, these images are going to be especially in case of coarse sections has been concerned. So, rail end batter, as I explained, the hammering action of a moving wheel on rail joint always causes the battering. So, especially on rail end, and in due course of time we can expect a wear. So, this is due to the impact blow and also the contact surface between the rail section and the sleeper, where it is going to be worn out, where the ballast at the places where the sleepers or joint are going to be getting loosened or shaken up. Similarly, the fish bolts are getting loosened, and also this factor further situation is going to be worsened, and it is going to be increasing the rail end battering. So this is with respect to rail end batter. So how we are going to measure the rail end batter? It is measured just a numerical difference between the height of the original rail and which is measured at a point of 30 centimeter away from the other end. So if the batter is going to be up to 2 mm, we just say the rail end batter is just an average, but if it is going to be in the range of 2 and 3 mm, we are going to classify it as a severe. So that is how we are going to be classify the rail end batter. When the rail end batter is excessive, so then the rail is otherwise alright, or otherwise it needs to be cropped, so the rail can be reused. So that is with respect to good maintenance practices. So apart from this, that is with respect to the wear has been concerned, some more defect in a rail we can expect it. So those are namely hogging of a rail, kinks, then buckling of a rail, scabbing, then a wheel bar, shelling and a block spot, and corrugation. So these are other type of defects on the rail section. So it is commonly observed in the track system. Moving on to the first one, the hogging of a rail. So as the name itself indicates hogging, it means it is been getting deflected. So how it is being deflected? That is due to the battering action of a wheel over the end of a rail causes a bend down or deflected at the end. So this phenomena or rail sections we are going to be called as a hogged rail. So this hogging of a rail at the end is due to the poor packing of ballast under the section, or otherwise loose of a fish plate. So this defect is going to be causing a jerks or rough riding condition. So how are you going to rectify it, or the remedial measures used for the hog railing? There will be a 4 method. One is a cropping, second one is a replacing, third method is a welding, and fourth one is dehogging. So depending upon the situation or the nature of hogging of a rail, the remedial measures are going to be make use. So moving on to the first one, that is a cropping. In this method, the hogged rails are going to be cut off, then fresh holes are made to fish the fish plate. So whenever we are going to be having cropping method, we are going to make a fresh holes to be drilled inside the web so that the fish plates can be joined. So that is a first method of cropping. Second method is a replacing. So when the rail section is to be completely removed and it has to be replaced by the new one. So depending upon the severity of the hogging, then this is going to be used. So this method is proven to be uneconomical because the entire rail section has to be replaced. Moving on to the third method, that is called as a welding. As the level corrections are to be done at the end, so then by welding or by warnot or defected end can be welded. So this is compared with respect to a smaller section of a hogging has been taken into consideration. Last method is a dehogging, so where it can be reduced by using a Zimcro or dehogging machine, so that without replacing or welding it can be dehogged to get back to original rail section. So this is with respect to hogging and its remedial measures. Moving on to the next defect, that is called kinks in rail. So kinks in the rails are going to be formed in an adjoining rail due to it is going to be moved from its original position, especially at the end or the shoulder. So we are going to be expecting kinks at the end. So those are called kinks in the rail. So the causative factors or the causes for the formation of these kinks might be once again the loose packing, especially at the joint, the defect in gauges or with respect to the alignment, or defect in a cross level, especially at the joint, or we are going to be having uneven wear of a rail head. So these four are going to be causes for the formation of a kink in a rail. So it is going to be undesirable effect because any of these are going to be non uniform or it is not going to be in a level. So obviously its effect are going to be unpleasant jerk, so that is the journey is not comfortable. Then it may going to be a further increase in uneven wear on the railhead. So especially obstruction for the smooth movement of a train section, especially at the joint. Then series of a kink, so in case of a curve, causes a defect in the gauge alignment or with respect to camber. So this is going to be undesirable effect. Then which are remedial measures, or the measures which are generally considered for kinks are going to be correction in the alignment, especially in case of joints and also in curves, proper packing, then proper maintenance practices. So these are going to be helpful to reduce some amount of a kink formation in case of the rails. Moving on to the next type of defect in a rail, that is called buckling. So as we know that tracks are going to be in its original position, or the alignment are going to be due to expansion, especially in case of what is say in a hot weather. So the buckling is going to be more predominant, and especially in case of buckling is going to be more at curves. So this is buckled sections in a hot weather condition and in the combination with the curve. So causes for this buckling is once again the same thing: improper expansion joint, or if you are going to be tightly fitted, there is no perfect gap between the fish bolt and fish plate. So if the welded rails on a weak track is been concerned, so these are going to be causing a buckling of a rail. So how we are going to prevent this phenomena? So precautionary measures what we are going to be concerned, suppose to avoid the buckling of a rail, are going to be the ballast section and the sleeper density to be redesigned according to the design concept, that is what could be the size of a ballast from the shoulder, how much width is to be provided, proper packing. Then the sleeper density is indirectly depend upon the spacing and the width of the sleeper it is being provided, and also the density of or the weight of the rail sections it is going to be used. Moving on to the next measurement. So number of a welded rail should not be very large. Okay. Next is the use of a steel sleeper or anchoring, or otherwise with respect to welding, that is the anchoring of a welding rail is going to be avoiding it. So as I said, the proper lubrication between the fish plate, and also it has to be maintained at a regular interval. Then proper designing and provision of expansion gap, because as we know, so expansion gap, the ends are going to be always, or otherwise the joints are always going to be the weaker, so we can expect more type of defect. Next type of a defect in a rail is going to be called as a scabbing. Scabbing is going to be occur where we are going to be having a falling of a patches or chunks of a metal from the rail table. So this is generally seen in the shape of elliptical depressions, or elliptical depression whose surface is going to be reveal the progressive fracture and also the numerous cracks around it. So if we are going to be having a sudden fall of a weight or patches, so the chunk of a metal is going to be subjected to the fractures and the cracks may going to be appear on the surface. So that is going to be called as a scabbing of a rail. So next one is going to be called as a wheel burr. So wheel burr is nothing but whenever we are going to be having a slipping of a driving wheel on the heads of a rail surface, so this is going to lead some amount of extra heat which is generated on the surface of the rail. So that is going to be resulting in the form of a depression on the rail table. So this burn is going to be specially noticed in case of a steep gradient, or otherwise if you are going to be applying a braking. So that is going to be formation of extra heat causes wheel burn. So that is one more type of defect in rails. Moving on to the next defect, it is called shelling and a block spot. Shelling is a progressive horizontal separation of a metal that may occur on the gauge side. So, gauge side, inner side, it is going to be occurring. Generally, at the upper gauge corner, the primary cause is going to be heavy bearing pressure on a smaller contact area. So, which produces internal shear stresses. So, that is a cause for the block spots or shelling. Next method is called, or the defect is going to be corrugation of rail. So, there is a depressions of formation along the surface of the rail. So, this depressions may going to be vary in its sizes and shape. So, it may be in an irregular interval. So, exact cause for this corrugation is not known, but some of the causes that causes corrugations might be from the metallurgical point of view. So, there might be high nitrogen content in the rail, or otherwise the effect of oscillation at the time of rolling or straightening of a rail section. So, that is with respect to metallurgy, or some causes with respect to physical and environmental conditions like steep gradient, yielding of formation, long tunnels. So, next one is a electrified section. So, this might be a causative factors for corrugation of a rail, or otherwise with respect to a train operation has been concerned. So, the speed of a rail, axle of a train, starting location where the brakes are going to be applied to stop the train. So, all these are going to be accountable for the corrugation. Similarly, the external agencies like the atmosphere may going to cause the corrugation, namely high moisture content and the air, that is going to be particularly in case of coastal area, that is because of humidity, and also the presence of sand may going to cause the corrugation of rails. So, the remedial measures for the corrugations. So, the only method is going to be removing uneven surfaces by using a grinding wherever it is possible. So, by using a grinding machine, the rail head are going to be fractions, or it is going to be milled for in case of millimeters of its original surface. So, no standard method is adopted in India, but whereas in case of Germany, they adopted two equipment for grinding. One is with respect to hand driven trolleys, next one is rail grinding train. So, whereas in the first method, that is a hand or a motor driven trolley, it is moved over the rail at a very slow speed. So, this grinding machine is going to be done for individual rails one by one. So, that is by inspection. So, in the next method, that is rail grinding machine is moving at a 30 kmph, that is a speed, and it will grind both the rails simultaneously. So, that is with respect to remedial measures of corrugation has been concerned. So, for this session, we had refer the standard textbook, so as listed as references, similarly the web references. Thank you.